Hello, everyone. This is from Milwaukee to Nashville. I'm Daniel Goodman. And over there is John Lewandowski. Our show is brought to you by the wonderful folks at Hockey Locker 202 West Howard Avenue, Milwaukee, Wisconsin. You can call them at 414-800-7585 or visit their website at hockeylockermilwaukee.com. All righty. Before we get into the show, public service announcement. Just remember, if you think your GM sucks, just be glad you're not the Dallas Mavericks.
Mhm.
All righty. In that note, today was the NHL trade deadline. All righty. Before we get into all our show, the trade deadline did happen today. Today was also the AHL roster freeze. The AHL roster freeze comes with Alrighty, Bellows being called up after the freeze, Delgaiso being sent down and called back up, Lucchini was sent back, Stastny was sent down and called back up, Svechkov was sent down and called back up, and Weissblatt was sent down and not called back up. Ozzy Weissblatt has played 3 professional hockey games in 3 days and has traveled from Milwaukee to Boston to Nashville to Milwaukee in the last 3 days. Just saying, that's pretty impressive that he played today.
Right.
Um, with that being said, the Milwaukee Admirals took on the Rosemont Wolves. I mean Chicago. Uh, today marks one of 2 more meetings, and they're all at home. So no more going to Rosemont, aka the giant White Castle. Um, with that being said, the Admirals do take on Iowa. They got shut out by Rockford today for nothing. But let's get in this game.
All right. So shots on goal in the first period. Milwaukee outshoots Chicago 6-5. In the second period, Milwaukee outshoots Chicago 5-4. In the third period, Milwaukee outshoots Chicago 9-8. And in total, Milwaukee outshoots Chicago 20-17. Chicago goes 0 for 4 on the power play at 17 minutes, 7 infractions, while Milwaukee goes 1 for 6 with 13 minutes, 5 infraction. Scoring in the first period for Chicago was Juha Jaska, scoring his ninth, shorthanded, assisted by Justin Robitaille, his 28th. Then at the 44-second mark of the second period for the Admirals, Jake Lucchini scores his 15th. That was also a shorthanded goal, assisted by Ryder Ralston his 12th and Ryan Ufko his 14th.
Then in the third on the power play, Joachim Keppel scores his 13th with an assist from Cal O'Reilly, his 29th. And Jake Lucchini, his 16th. Then scoring the empty netter, the bad man himself, Andre Pavel, his 6th on the empty net with an assist from Graval. Pavel and Morrow got into a fight in the second, and Pavel rocked him. Not very often do I sit here and say that there's a moment where I look at it and go, I'm glad we got that guy. Um, looked to be a very physical, chippy game. Um, the Wolves seemed to be out of place at times, um, and not really feeling it at times. Just odd moments during the game. Um, in net for the Admirals was Matt Murray stepping 16 to 17, so another 1 goal game for Murray. While Spencer Martin gives up 17 of 19, the empty net does not count against his statistics. The Admirals pick up the win and are now back tied for first place in points. Our magic number is 14. Yep, 14. Magic number should be 14. Um, in other news, the Admirals after today have 16 games left, while the Stars have 20. The Grand Rapids Griffins have they're 16, and the Wolves have 19. Rockford has 18, Iowa has 17, and the Moose have 19. We do play the Moose twice, I think, at home. Um, no, it is not the Moose twice. We play Hartford the 14th. And Rockford the 15th or 16th. Hartford the 15th. Rockford the 16th, and we play Grand Rapids the 14th. So we have a 3-3 there.
Mhm.
Yikes. Um, with that being said, there is some Nashville Predators news to attend to. That news is Mark Jankowski traded for a fifth to the Carolina Hurricanes. That is for this year. All right. So, as the deadline has concluded, the Predators have their first, Tampa's second, Tampa's first, Vegas's first, their second, and Tampa's second, 1/3, 1/4, 2/5, 2/6, no seven. The next year they have 1/1, 2 seconds, a third, 2/4, a fifth, no sixth, and a seventh. Then in 2027 they have 1/1, 1 second, 2/3, 2/4, no 1/5, 1/6, 1/7. Now, with all that being said, um, I have not really been on camera since the Novak trade.
Yeah.
With that being said, before we get into Atlanta's game tonight, um, I was not a fan of trading Novak, but at the same time, did not seem like he was doing well in the current system.
Yeah.
And all I want is for the system to succeed. As much as I love Tommy Novak, I want the Preds to win more.
And if
And,
another team will give him, that fresh start, fresh chance, maybe the spark he's looking for, then we hope for that too.
and Bunting adds that James Neal type player where it's like a grit offense type thing.
Yeah.
Where he can produce offensively, but he is so stout defensively that his defense transitions to his offense.
Right.
He'll go sit in front of the net and deflect pucks, you know. And now that he's got his appendix removed, it's one less place we got to worry about him getting injured. I kid. I wish him a speedy recovery and hope to see him this season. They're saying it might be a week or two. So in that, no, it's not like it's indefinite or anything like that.
Yeah.
From what I've heard, it's going to be like a week or two, and then he'll be back on skates. All right, so Atlanta took on the former IHL team in the Kalamazoo Kwings. Been a while since we've seen these guys.
Mm-hmm.
All righty, let's get to it.
All right, shots on goal in the first period. Kalamazoo outshot Atlanta 15-5. In the second period, Kalamazoo outshot Atlanta 9-5. In the third period, both teams had 11 shots. In total, Kalamazoo ends up outshooting Atlanta 35-21. Atlanta goes 0 for 4 on the power play with 6 minutes, 3 infractions, while Kalamazoo goes 1 for 3 with 8 minutes, 4 infractions. Scoring in the first period for Kalamazoo at the 15:24 mark was Josh Bloom, assisted by Zach Berzola. That would do it for the first period. Scoring in the second period for Kalamazoo, 15 minutes in, was Zach Okabe, assisted by Zach Berzola. Then, at the 18:35 mark, Atlanta gets on the board with a goal from Eric Neely. And that would do it for the scoring in the second.
In the third, it's the birthday boy, Derek Topatic, scoring with an assist from Jackson Pearson. That was at the 4:44 mark. Then at the 5:21 mark, Josh Bloom scores unassisted. Then at the 18:28 mark, Zach Okobe scores with an assist from Quinn Preston and Zach Brazola. Hey, Kalamazoo, nobody good has ever come from the name Zach. Just so you know. I've never met one I like. Anyway, scoring literally 30 seconds later was Josh Bloom with an assist from Luke Morgan. Atlanta falls 5-2. Your 3 stars of the game: Josh Bloom, Zach Kobe, Zach Brazola.
As I say, the only Zach that I could remember is Zach Boychuk.
I was oh dang it, Zach LaRue.
That too.
Even though I'd imagine playing against him, I wouldn't like him.
Right?
He seems like one of those guys where I'd hate to play against him, love that he's on my team.
Yeah.
It's like the whole Marchand rule, where
Yeah.
you hate the guy, but if he's on your team, you love him.
Right.
However, I remember one instance, I think it was there was a guy that played for the Preds or used to play for Arizona. He had got traded to the Preds. The Preds sent him to us. And I said, I don't care. I don't like you. That's just because he was a dirty player. Um, whoa. With that being said, as much as we expected, maybe O'Reilly to get moved or assistants or McCarron, you know what I mean? Like as much as we maybe would have expected them to get moved, um, in a good kind of way. Um, but
Well, I kind of like also seeing them stay because in the last year we've picked up an enormous amount of draft picks and the veteran experience that is needed to help teach some of these guys as they're making their way up to the big show, is invaluable.
and I mean, even if you think about it, look at what a guy like O'Reilly could mean to LaRue and Svechkov as centers.
Right.
And Stamkos, Marchessault, Bunting now. Bunting's a vet too. Bunting's been around for years.
Yeah.
Always played in the top six, hard worker, goes to the net. There's the thing. I understand what we gave up seems like a little much, but now that I've had the time to think about it from a weird, kind of goofy perspective, knowing that Pittsburgh flipped him to somebody in our division for a second and a fourth is kind of depressing, but at the same time, knowing we would have never got offered that because we're in the same division.
Right.
So you don't want to give the over, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Um, and that's kind of like my thing right now. Is it looks like if you really think about it, they picked up Verana, they picked up Osterley. Osterley is under contract for next season. He plays right and left defense. The guys was an unrestricted free agent, and so is England. England's really surprised me. I actually like the way he plays. Um, with the Preds, they've got a side Evangelista. I don't know why you're on the roster. Um, I just don't understand. How are you two places at once?
Yeah.
Angelo's on the Preds roster and the Lightning. So a little something they gotta fix there, but um, you know, like I said, so then in that case, you also gotta sign. You're good on goalies. Don't gotta worry about that. Johansson's 4 million comes off the books. Um, Nyquist 1.52 will come off the books.
Now, did we ever find out if Johansson's for this year's is off the book?
No. However, if they find now that it could, it'll cut it'll give the Preds a surplus, if
Okay.
that makes sense.
Yeah.
All right, and so all right, on top of that, we got 4 million coming off the books. Or 4.5 coming off the books. We've got 2.74 going on the books in Saros's new contract. So it'll be 7.74
Yeah.
every year going beyond 29, 30 seasons. So yeah, got ways to go on that contract. Brady Shea, same thing. Or looking at it, Ozzy Weissblatt's new contract is cheaper than this last year, so they're actually saving roughly $50,000. Um, they really don't got to sign all that much. So you're looking at right now 9 million in cap space.
Yeah.
Just right now, you're gonna have 9 million in cap space.
Right.
And the cap's going up. I can't remember when it was going up to, but if I remember, it was like a pretty surmountable number. Um,
Okay. So the current $88 million cap will jump to 95.5 million in 2025-26, followed by 104 million in 26-27 and 113.5 million in 2027-28.
so it's jumping almost 7 million.
Yeah.
So the Preds are going to have almost 15 million in cap to burn.
Right.
I mean, if they want to go and they get a top 5 pick, and you go, hey, we're bringing you in right away.
Right.
If you're an American born player, don't even think about going to college. Because Trotz is going to want you here immediately. Now, I know that Trotz is getting a little impatient with CERN, but CERN's doing well. The KHL defenseman leader in scoring is, I forgot. Simeon Chichikov, left side defenseman, 4th round pick by the Nashville Predators. He is 23 years old. He was drafted in 2019. He currently leads the KHL in goals for a defenseman with 16.
Yeah.
So the more you know. The Swedish league will be wrapping up within the next 2 weeks. The AHL roster freeze and trade deadline have gone past. So everything from here on out is for the rest of the season. If you see us see guys are signed to amateur trial contracts, don't freak out or anything like that. It just means they're not signed to a professional contract, but they're just seeing what you can do here.
Yeah.
I would not be surprised to see a lot of that soon, as I believe the hockey tournament starts next week in college. And beyond that, I think a couple other things. I wouldn't be surprised to see the Preds take a couple stabs at some of the guys coming through the ranks. You know, some of their draft picks over the last few years. I
Right.
wouldn't be surprised to see the Preds kind of maybe take a stab at a Matthew Wood, get him into the system, and start getting him acclimated to the pro game.
Right.
Um, you're 20 years old. Time to go, buddy. Uh,
And then another thing is, even though Saros has gone up and down this season, game to game, we did do some research and find out he is second in shutouts in the whole league.
it's a pretty good tie because there's a few of them there that have the same number as he does. But just for the sake of saying, maybe it's not all sorrows. Maybe it's just a bad year. Maybe
Right.
we didn't gel right. Made a mistake. Scrap some stuff. Move some stuff along. Get some new faces in there. Because I mean, here's the thing: Jankowski's pretty much getting replaced by Ozzy Weissblatt.
Hmm.
I don't care who you are. I think Ozzy's making the NHL next year. I know.
Yeah.
Um, you got Svechkov, you got LaRue, you've got people coming here. You've got some good defensive men coming through in the next couple years. I'm not too worried about it all. Like, I'm really excited to see what Tanner Molendijk brings to the table.
Yeah.
Now, as much as you Preds fans may think this, but I would much rather him spend a year in Milwaukee than end up with like a Fabro situation where he was too green when he was brought in and it was rushed.
Right.
And it's just a mistake that should have never happened. Um, and if you want to elaborate anything on that real quick, you can.
Oh no, I'm all good. I know
Um,
we're running real short on time.
yes, we are. But be all and all, Admirals pick up a win. Atlanta Falls. Tomorrow we got a full show with you, triple, and we will see you then. By the way, until then, go Admirals, go Preds, go Atlanta.